There is a pressure building tonight that most people will misread as stress, bad luck, or random conflict. It is not random. It is timed. It is measurable. It is arriving with the precision of machinery. At 12:02 a.m. Eastern Time, Mars in Taurus forms an exact square to Pluto in Aquarius, and a locked gate inside the collective psyche swings open. Most will walk into this window blind. They will argue harder, spend faster, grip tighter, and call it normal life. You will not. You were meant to hear this before the impact. You may have already felt it in your jaw, your shoulders, your stomach, your pulse. You may have noticed sleep turning shallow, patience thinning, old resentment returning like smoke under a door. That was not your imagination. That was the signal. Something is peaking now, not gently, not quietly, with surgical force. Before this window closes, you will understand three things. First, what this event is and why this specific version of Mars square Pluto carries unusual weight in 2026. Second, which signs are most affected and what this transit demands from them now. Third, the exact practice that turns this from disruption into direction. Stay with this. What happens next is not about fear. It is about power, real power, the kind that does not need to shout, the kind that survives the storm. Mars is motion, heat, instinct, blood, reaction. Pluto is depth, pressure, elimination, buried truth, the unseen hand beneath visible events. When these two collide by square, friction becomes law. The old way pushes against the necessary way. Desire pushes against consequence. Ego pushes against reality, and reality always wins. This time the battlefield is Taurus and Aquarius. One sign rules resources, land, body, money, values, what is tangible and owned. The other rules systems, networks, innovation, the future, collective structures, what belongs to everyone and no one. Do you see the shape of it now? Security versus change. Possession versus evolution. Habit versus awakening. This can happen in governments, markets, families, friendships, relationships, and inside your own nervous system. A square does not ask politely. It corners you until a choice is made. That is why tension rises before the exact moment. Your body senses what the mind has not named yet. The neck tightens, the stomach knots. The mind rehearses arguments that have not happened. The heart races at small triggers. Ancient biology meeting celestial timing. Macro to micro. Stars to blood. Sky to spine. And within 72 hours, the atmosphere is already charged. The sun has touched Uranus, bringing shocks and revelations. The sun reaches Neptune, dissolving illusions. The sun harmonizes with Pluto, exposing what was hidden. Venus moves towards Saturn, testing affection, boundaries, and maturity. This is not one isolated aspect. It is a corridor, a sequence. A chamber where truth echoes louder than comfort. If something in your life feels unstable now, understand this clearly. The transit did not create the crack. It revealed the crack. If anger appeared, it was stored there. If fear appeared, it was waiting there. If clarity appeared, it was ready there. This is why some people call such nights chaotic. They only see the debris. You are here to see the architecture beneath it. Tonight is not asking you to become someone else. It is asking you to stop pretending, to be who you no longer are. The pressure is real. The opportunity is real. And the next move is yours. If you are Taurus, listen closely. Mars moves through your sign, which means the pressure is personal. It lands on identity, body, finances, boundaries, self-worth, and the way you use force. You may feel impatient with delays, allergic to weakness, unwilling to tolerate what once seemed manageable, good. That irritation contains information. Taurus often builds slowly, commits deeply, endures longer than others can see. But endurance can become stagnation when loyalty outlives truth. This square asks, where you have confused consistency with captivity? Where have you stayed because leaving would disrupt the image of stability? Where have you kept carrying weight that no longer belongs to you? Pluto from Aquarius challenges your public direction, your role, your future path, your reputation, your contribution to the wider world. The conflict may feel like private comfort versus public evolution, safe known ground versus a calling you cannot ignore. You may want guarantees before movement. This transit offers none. It offers leverage instead. Use your natural patience strategically. Do not explode after months of silence. Speak early, speak clearly, move money consciously, protect energy fiercely. The version of you that survives by tolerating everything is ending. The version of you that builds with intention is arriving. If you are Aquarius, the pressure comes from the foundations. Pluto in your sign is already rewriting identity at the root level. It strips costumes. It exposes motives. It asks who you are when the performance ends. Mars in Taurus now pushes from the zone of home, family, emotional safety, memory, and inherited patterns. You may feel torn between outer transformation and inner resistance. You want the future, but old emotional architecture still lives in the basement. Rooms you never renovated. Stories you never challenged. This can manifest as conflict at home, friction with relatives, sudden desire to relocate, or a fierce need to protect solitude. It can also feel like a private rage you cannot explain. Explain it by tracing it backward. What boundary was crossed repeatedly? What need was dismissed for years? What identity did you maintain to keep peace? Aquarius can intellectualize pain, turning wounds into theories. This transit rejects abstraction. It wants embodiment. Feel the anger without becoming it. Name the truth without weaponizing it. Build new systems in your life that honor the person you are becoming, not the version others found convenient. If structures around you resist your change, that resistance is evidence of the change itself. If you are Leo, this square activates the axis of recognition and relationship. Pride, partnership, leadership, visibility, and the hunger to be seen all move under pressure now. Pluto in Aquarius challenges how you share power with others. Mars in Taurus presses career, status, ambition, and external achievement. You may encounter authority struggles, relationship standoffs, or moments where applause suddenly feels empty. Leo thrives through creative radiance, but under stress, the shadow can appear, needing control through image, refusing feedback, mistaking admiration for intimacy. This transit can expose where your strength became armor. You may feel triggered when not acknowledged, resisted when not obeyed, unseen when not celebrated. Yet the deeper invitation is profound. What if your worth does not rise and fall with attention? What if leadership means holding the center without dominating the room? What if love requires equality, not hierarchy? You may be called to renegotiate commitments, release performative goals, or choose substance over spectacle. Do not battle every challenge to your pride. Some challenges are medicine. The crown that survives this transit is lighter because it is no longer glued to ego. It rests on character. If you are Scorpio, you know pressure intimately. You know silence, depth, instinct, hidden motives, emotional weather beneath the surface. This square reaches you through trust, vulnerability, home, family roots, shared resources, and long-held resentment. Mars in Taurus opposes your sign by polarity, bringing intensity through relationships and direct confrontations. Pluto in Aquarius agitates the deepest floors of your life, where you came from, what shaped your defenses, what pain became strategy. You may notice old jealousy, suspicion, territoriality, or control impulses rising fast. Do not panic. Buried material rises because it is ready to move. Scorpio often protects tenderness with power. This transit asks whether the fortress still serves you. Are you guarding treasure or guarding wounds? Are you reading threats where there is only uncertainty? Are you demanding loyalty while withholding openness? Honest answers now can change years of repeating cycles. If conflict emerges in partnership, go beneath the surface issue. The argument may be about dishes, timing, money, messages, but the real subject is safety. Speak that language instead. If grief appears, let it move. If anger appears, let it instruct. If clarity appears, trust it. Transformation is not always dramatic fire. Sometimes it is finally setting down the blade you no longer need. For everyone else listening, you are not outside this transit. No one is outside weather. You may feel it through workplace politics, money stress, digital overload, social fractures, family tension, or sudden insight about what cannot continue. Watch where life feels over-controlled. Watch where you are tempted to force an answer. Watch where fear disguises itself as urgency. This is the anatomy of the square. Pressure seeks movement. But movement without awareness becomes damaging. So there are things to avoid now. Avoid power struggles that exist only to prove you can win. Avoid ultimatums spoken from wounded pride. Avoid revenge decisions that feel satisfying for 10 minutes and costly for 10 months. Avoid impulse spending used to numb emptiness. Avoid obsessive texting, checking, chasing, monitoring. Avoid picking fights online with strangers carrying their own storms. Avoid signing agreements while angry. Avoid pretending you do not know what you know. Avoid suppressing obvious truth, because comfort is louder than conscience. Avoid the old reflex of controlling what should be clarified. The more force you use now, the more force returns. This is the physics of spirit. This is emotional gravity. Choose differently. Here's the ritual. Simple, concrete, effective. Turn off distractions for 20 minutes. No noise, no scrolling, no performance. Sit with a page. Write where your energy is leaking. Name the person, habit, fear, task, environment, or memory draining your life force. Be exact. Then write one conflict you can no longer carry in its current form. Not 10 conflicts. 1. The central knot. Tear the page or burn it safely as a signal to your own subconscious that the old contract is ending. Then stand up and breathe 10 slow breaths. Longer exhale than inhale. Tell the body the emergency is over. Move next. Walk. Stretch. Lift weight. Shake tension from shoulders and hips. Mars needs motion. Give it motion consciously, or it will seek motion through conflict. After movement, choose one strategic action. Send one honest message. Cancel one draining obligation. Create one budget boundary. Make one appointment. Delete one distraction. Start one plan. One move made with clarity is stronger than 10 moves made in panic. End the day with silence. No doom scrolling. No feeding the machine that profits from agitation. Protect the final minutes before sleep. Let the nervous system remember, peace exists. This is how disruption becomes direction. This is how heat becomes fuel. This is how power returns to the hands that can hold it wisely. And now, the deeper truth. The biggest power struggle of 2026 may not be happening in the news, in institutions, or in the people around you. It may be happening between two versions of you. The one built from fear, and the one built from truth. Fear wants immediate relief, total control, visible victory. Truth wants alignment, integrity, and sustainable change. Fear shouts. Truth endures. Fear clenches the jaw. Truth relaxes the grip. Fear repeats history. Truth writes a new line. Tonight, the sky mirrors that inner contest with exact precision. Mars squares Pluto. Force meets depth. Instinct meets consequence. The old weapon meets the new wisdom. You do not need to win every battle in this window. You need to identify which battle is false. You do not need to dominate the room. You need to command yourself, You do not need to hold together what is already breaking. You need to ask why it was built that way at all. Most people will miss this moment because they will mistake intensity for catastrophe. You will recognize intensity as invitation. If something ends now, bless the ending. If something begins now, honor the beginning. If nothing external changes, notice what shifted inside. That may be the greater event. You were not brought here to fear the sky. You were brought here to read it. You were not chosen to carry dead weight forever. You were chosen to release it. You were not meant to survive by shrinking. You were meant to evolve by seeing clearly. The window is open. The pressure is here. The choice is alive. Move with intention. Speak with precision. Protect your energy. And when the noise rises around you, remember this: real power rarely looks loud.